Welcome everyone to the Mythos Busters AV Club episode whatever. We're reviewing the Carcosa Deluxe box. Sean, how are you?
Gata, I am well. How are you?
Very good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited to be back on the AV Club train,
Mm-hmm.
bus, whatever we want to call it. But
You excited to dig into these cards?
oh god, the puns. Just right at the start. So I explained to you, but I'll explain to our viewers and listeners. Anytime I have a bunch of colors in a set and they're not in spectral order, it just drives me insane. So we're going to be reviewing these cards in spectral order, starting with Survivor.
It's so funny how everyone has their triggers. Like that would never even occur to me to look at whether they were in spectral order or not.
Oh man, you should see my deck organization box color coded. Anyways, you want to read William York?
Alas, I do, Horatio. So William York is our survivor investigator. He is the Gravedigger. He has the Warden trait. He has 3 willpower, 2 intellect, 4 combat, and 3 agility. And reaction: after you defeat an enemy, play an asset from your discard pile, paying its cost. Limit once per round. Elder Sign effect: +2 if this test is successful. Return 1 card from your discard pile to your hand. He has 8 health, 6 sanity. I am but a simple player in this drama, but if I am lucky, I'll live to its full.
His deck building stuff is pretty simple. Deck size 30. Survivor cards 0 to 5, neutral 0 to 5, Guardian 0 to 2. And then he's got his signatures and 1 random weakness, and we'll get to those. But York's a beast.
He sure is.
I knew when we got previewed with his card and stuff, in my mind I'm like, this guy's going to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not realize how like he surpassed my already high expectations.
Yep, same boat.
For what he could do, like tricks wise and combat wise, especially with his ability to bring stuff back. Like York is so good, he made knife good. And that is saying a lot.
Yeah. Well, and if anything, years of playing these kinds of card games should have taught us that recursion is just powerful. Just always powerful. And we saw it a little bit with scavenging, but it's a little bit more limited and kind of depends on... You need a specific build to support it, but I mean... The tricks you can pull with Yorick, taking attacks of opportunity, grabbing, clues with some of the items we're going to talk about in a little bit, playing down allies like your guard dogs that you can play in and out of play, and then your I don't know. Yorick's remarkably good.
Still love the double knife, like being able to get the knife out, throw it at a cultist, dig it out of his skull that turn, throw it at another one. Like it's the one that really sticks out in my mind actually, and we witnessed this at Arkham Knights when we were kind of doing our plays beforehand, was Kenji had Yorick and he got 2 police badges.
Yep.
And being able to recur police badge, holy moly, the amount of free actions he got in one game was something like 14 actions. Like insane.
It was absolutely off the chain. And you know what? I'll just throw it out there. That Elder Sign. Always love those Elder Signs that do something for you, even when it's not a super important test.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and like you're saying, recursion in card games, to me, it's like draw, except you're able to draw a card that you're picking out of a choice of cards and play it immediately without using an action for it, right?
And those cards have already been useful to you, so like in the context of what you're doing, they've already derived some value.
And I mean, it's his ability, you're getting this bonus on something you'd already be doing, right? Like it's not like scavenging, like you were saying, where you actually have to specifically utilize scavenging. This is, hey, I'm attacking an enemy. Oops, I accidentally get a card,
Yeah.
So
what do you think Yorick's kit looks like at this point in time? Who's his best ally? I mean, is it just Pete Sylvester for everyone who can take him?
I don't know. I tend to run Yorick with
Cats?
either dogs. No, no, not cats. Either dogs or cops. Beat cops or dogs, I find are the best because I like the utility of those two allies. Um, Sylvester's good. He's good for any survivor. He would be like I'd probably put him in the deck, but he wouldn't. If I had a choice between a beat cop and Peter Sylvester, I'd probably go with beat cop first.
Okay.
And double knife because
Oh, well, yeah, that goes without saying.
you have to. Yeah.
The efficiency of knife in a Yorick deck is just insanity.
Yes.
I suppose we should probably talk about his SIGs while we're at it, huh?
Yeah. So first one is very mystic, kind of. Zero cost event, bury them deep. It's a task. It has a willpower, a combat, and a wild pip. William York's deck only, of course. Fast. Play after a non-elite enemy at your location is defeated. Add that enemy and this card to the victory display. It has victory 1. Through this madness, yet there is method in it. I'm really bad at reading Shakespeare. But
so, I mean, Delve Too Deep's amazing. This is better.
Yeah.
Because it's free, it's fast, you're not seeing any encounter cards, and it's triggering after something you're doing anyway. So, yeah. Amazing signature.
Yeah. One thing I like about this one, too, is if you're, depending on the scenario, there might be those enemies that are bigger but not elite. And if it's a small encounter deck, you might see them multiple times. This allows you to just take them out of that cycle.
Yep.
Especially
or
games
Whippoorwills or Night Gaunts.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like a Night Gaunt in Midnight Masks, going all the way back to the core set. Like, that can be a very long scenario. If you, in the first couple turns, can bury a Night Gaunt, you're going to have an easier time. So, yeah. You want to read Graveyard Ghouls? I mean, that's all I have to say about
that one's just so simply good. I don't know what else there is to say. All right, so Graveyard Ghouls is the enemy weakness for Yorick. They have 3 combat, 3 health, 2 evade, humanoid, monster, and ghoul traded. Prey, William Yorick only. Hunter, while Graveyard Ghouls is engaged with you, cards cannot leave your discard pile. Hell is empty and devils are here. So
it's not bad.
No, it's one of the gentler weaknesses I think that exists, because it's just not a huge enemy to begin with, and it's in an investigator who's just fine handling enemies. So
yeah,
I've never found it to be. I mean, it's kind of a bummer if I'm trying to set up a combo and grab that police badge or something, and this guy hops out, and it's like, ah, damn it, now I have to wait a turn. But beyond that, I've not found him to be anything resembling unhandleable.
I think my favorite part about this card is the rule where if your deck is empty and you go to draw, and you would normally shuffle your discard pile back into your deck and make a new deck and take a sanity hit, but Graveyard Ghouls just makes you paw at the table where your deck would be, because the cards can't come out.
Oh, that's funny.
That's great. Yeah.
I can't say I've ever drawn out with Yorick before, but it's good to know.
He does his drawing elsewhere. He draws his deck twice. It's just from the discard pile.
Right.
Multiple times.
All right, so rounding back then, finishing up his kit. What do you like for weapons aside from knife? Because surely you run and hedge for knife, but you must run other weapons.
Machete I find,
as always,
good, because machete is good. I tend not to run fire axe because I think you want the resources to be playing stuff out of your discard pile.
I think that's generally true.
We're going to talk about it, but Gravedigger's Shovel I think is pretty good, because he has such low intellect. Having a shovel or two, you can, hit those 1 health enemies, and then also discard it for a clue and then get it back if you need to get another clue at a super high shroud location.
You ever run guns in William?
Yes, in multiplayer. Like if I'm going to be playing like 3 or 4 players, I might throw a 45 automatic in there.
Yeah.
I usually stick to machete just because if you're playing solo, the chance of you being engaged with more than one enemy, if you're constantly dealing with them, is low. So machete works way better, but
Right.
sometimes you need the firepower just to do that extra damage. I always throw in 2 vicious blows as well, just because if he's going to be the one fighting, vicious blows an incredible card.
Always. And I find, I suppose we don't have too much to compare it to aside from Mark, but trying to be a dedicated monster basher out of 4 combat, occasionally you just need 1 or 2 to make sure you're hitting those big enemies. So yeah, I don't see why you don't go vicious blow.
I could see using Yorick as dedicated as the killing guy in a 4-player game if you're playing on standard, but I think Guardians are just still better at being that primary killer. Yorick is a great like secondary killer slash I don't know, all around kind of guy, just tricks and stuff. So yeah, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. Play him. Yeah.
I'm just gonna reorganize these because I totally realized I did not put them in the right order.
We'll do it live.
Oh God, we'll fix it in post. All
Post.
right.
Mythos Busters.
Do we post anything here? No. Okay, let's move on to the assets. Gravedigger Shovel, 2 cost. Survivor asset, has a combat icon. It's an item, a tool, a weapon, and it's melee. It has the action fight. You get +2 combat for this attack. And the other action is discard Gravedigger Shovel. Discover 1 clue at your location. Takes up a hand slot. I knew I should have, but I couldn't stop digging.
Sounds like a productivity trip to me.
So, first question. You've seen the movie Titanic, I assume?
I have.
Do you remember the part where the ship's sinking and the guy falls off and then he hits one of the propellers and it makes that really loud dong sound?
Yes.
Is that the sound that goes through your head when you kill an enemy with a Gravedigger Shovel? Because that's what I think it sounds like. When that shovel head just like cracks the skull of a cultist, it's just that dong.
I'm kind of more of the mind where I always imagine like Yorick has that weird scene where he's sitting obscured in the back of the room while the others are having a conversation. And we don't know it, but he's actually sharpening his shovel. And then he makes some snide comment from the back, and the camera kind of pans through the crowd to him, and he's sitting there, just kind of that, like, Quint in Jaws type moment. That's my headcanon.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing stories.
Yeah, I think it's more like aluminum bat style.
Yes.
You know that.
just that hollow, chunky thunk.
Yeah, with a little resonance at the end.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what's really good in an audio podcast? Talking about audio.
Yeah.
Instead of, hey, we're not talking about art. Speaking of art, no, we're not. I find Gravedigger Shovel pretty decent in Yorick. I don't think I like it in too many other investigators.
Okay, and why is that?
I think for the cost. I mean, I think there's better weapons out there that do a better job of being a weapon. And there are better clue tools, if you want, that are out there that are better at getting clues. This kind of does an okay job at both. And the reason it's good in Yorick is because he can discard it and then bring it back so often. But discarding it once for a clue, I don't know. And I mean, I'm thinking of the people I would put this in, like, if you want to put it in someone like Wendy or something, the +2 combat's only going to bring her to a 3, which I think is just not good enough.
Where you need
so
to be,
why not?
man.
Yeah, why not run Fire Axe? And there's better ways for her to find clues than using the Gravedigger Shovel. So I would run something other than Shovel. Maybe in Zoe, just because she's already got that higher combat. But I think it's a good card. It's just for very specific investigators, it's a good card.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a catch-all.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the prerequisites to make this card efficient just means as of right now we don't have that many investigators that mesh well with it. Yeah, I think I agree. I think the investigator, if you want to try to get both value out of this, you probably want someone who's at least a 2 combat, because getting to 4 will at least, you know, put you in reasonable range to bash rats or something.
Yeah.
But ideally 3 to 4 combat, and then also need some help with investigating clues. I mean, I don't mind popping the shovel simply for, you know, cheesing a high shroud location or something like that. Not necessarily as a normal means to get clues. But I do think the mere existence of scavenging helps this thing stock in anyone other than Yorick.
Yeah, but then you're running. See, that to me is like a 2-card combo that isn't as efficient as just if you're trying to run that to get clues, you should be leaving the clue finding to a different investigator, because that to me that combo is just taking a lot of time to do something inefficiently. You know what I mean?
About halfway through the Carcosa cycle being released, I started up a campaign just because I wanted to see exactly how flexible Agnes was. So I started up a campaign with Mark and Agnes was as clouvery as I could make her. And so I had Alyssa's, I had Rite of Seekings, I had in Hubert's he hadn't come out yet, but so anyway, this ended up making the cut because occasionally you hit that high shroud location that has 1 or 2 clues on it. You don't either have or want to waste a Rite of Seeking maybe, or, you know, for whatever reason. It can be good, but yeah, I think it asks a lot of you before it becomes ultimate. Like, I told that whole story just to agree with you. So that campaign died in Unspeakable Oath, so
okay,
that was not the strongest build in the world.
Fair enough. I can see it, being slightly useful in Agnes, because she's got 2 combat, correct?
Yes.
2 fight. Yeah. So I mean, she can get up to 4, like you were saying, and yeah, if she's going clouvery, and she's not like her hand slots are pretty flexible.
Yes, they are.
So yeah.
But again, you had to check all those boxes before you gave your blessing. So
yeah. All right. You want to read its twin but opposite lantern?
Sure. So Lantern is level 0, 2 cost survivor asset. It has an intellect icon. It is an item and a tool. Action: investigate. Your location gets -1 shroud for this investigation. And action: discard Lantern. Deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location. This does not provoke an attack of opportunity. And it takes up a hand slot. So I find there's fewer boxes to tick on this one before it becomes good.
I agree.
Yeah. So, and honestly, I think in most survivors, or at least investigators that have access to Survivor, this has replaced Flashlight for me. If they would have taken Flashlight to begin.
Especially like this coming out and replaying through Dunwich.
Oh yeah.
And being able to deal with whippoorwills with the lantern. Like, it was just basically a hard mulligan when there were whippoorwills for the lantern, and you go about your business.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. I like playing this in Rex, actually, quite a bit. Because it just any really like cluey low combat investigator that can take this, I like it because it gives you that boost on investigating, and it gets you like if there's rats or the cultist or a whippoorwill or some little 1 health enemy that's annoying, it's a get out of jail free card. And usually you'll also be running magnifying glasses or whatever, so you can replace it once you use it for its damage, and just keep on going doing what you're doing. So
Yep. It's a solid little card. I think it's well costed. And again, if you're running Clouvery, it's probably not too much to go out of your way to run Scavenging to recur these, if that's a thing you want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
Solid little
And I
card.
mean, Pizza Goat's pointing out in the chat too that uh, lowering the difficulty is better than raising your skill, because there is that chance. I mean, if you're at a one shroud location, not that you should have issues anyways, but it guarantees a success, right?
Yep.
And you're just that much closer to success. So
I like it.
yeah, really good card. All right. Hiding Spot is our survivor event for this box. One cost event, has 2 agility icons on it. It's a tactic and a trick. Fast, attach Hiding Spot to any location. Each non-elite enemy at the location gains aloof, and then forced at the end of the enemy phase. If a ready enemy is at attached location, discard Hiding Spot. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Illusion, Michael.
Trips are a thing a whore does for money. This is a cool card. It's fun. I find it isn't as impactful as I want it to be, usually. I get the vision in my head of what the design was going for, and the ideas like behind these kind of specific scenarios in which it would work really well, where you have a bunch or yourself investigators at one location, the next location over has a bunch of enemies, the next location over is the one you need to get to, and so you'd play Hiding Spot, and then like the Scooby-Doo gang sneaking behind the guy covered in a sheet, you tippy toe along. But I find that it's such a niche card, I find myself cutting it quite often.
Yeah. So I suppose Devourer Below is its finest hour.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, this one I have tried out. I've really only, I mean, there's really only value in this card for an investigator who wants to kind of, as a rule, avoid fighting, right? This isn't like a cheeky one of you throw in a mark deck.
Yeah.
In place of like a manual dexterity, it's got the icons because that's going to help you just get away in general. And occasionally you'll hit that moment where, that hunter's coming after you and it's going to hit you next turn. So hey, whoop, let's slip through it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fine little one of in that kind of investigator.
I mean, it's also okay if you're gonna have to stay at your location, but a hunter's gonna come get you, and you don't want to take that initial hit, but you can deal with them next turn. It allows you to stand in plain sight. They hunt over, they don't attack you at the end of the enemy phase, then they engage you, and you're okay with that because you didn't get that hit. It's almost like a dodge, kind of.
And what's really fun is if you do have that situation where the enemy you slip past then hunts you off this location, the Hiding Spot stays put.
Yep.
So, bonus.
Yeah.
I've honestly never had that matter before, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I tried this card out a few times, and I don't really use it anymore. I'm sure there's going to be a scenario, probably in this cycle, Forgotten Age, now that it's out. I feel like this is going to be a card that's going to be like, oh my god, for scenario 5, make sure to pack Hiding Spot or something like that.
I can think of one scenario already.
Oh, I'm getting mine today.
So... Oh, you haven't played yet? Okay, sorry. No spoilers.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Do you want to read Resourceful?
Oh, I sure do. So, Resourceful is a level 0 skill. It has an intellect, combat, and agility icon. It's innate, and if this skill test is successful, choose a survivor card not named Resourceful in your discard pile, and add the chosen card to your hand.
The amount of times I've gone to go get a Resourceful with Resourceful, and then I read the card again for the 80th time.
So what do you find yourself recurring most often? I think Lucky's at the top of the list.
Yeah. Lucky's.
Look what I found. Yep.
Yeah. What else? Sometimes like Leather Coat or Cherished Keepsake.
Sure,
if stuff's getting heavy and you need, like, you've already got your coat kicked off.
Perhaps Lantern and
Yep.
Gravedigger's Shovel?
Yeah, Gravedigger Shovel.
Since it only goes in Yorick, you don't need this.
Yeah. Lantern for sure, though. If I'm using that in, yeah, like in Min, Resourceful is amazing in Min. I feel like it's more like this could almost be like a Min signature. I felt.
Yeah, especially because it's basically an unexpected courage.
Yeah.
In Min. I've never actually looked at the art on this thing closely. I never noticed the writhing mouths behind her closing in, and that's why she's reaching for the shears.
Oh yeah, look at that. What are those vines?
I think they're mouths.
Okay.
Or tentacles. Okay. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Oh.
Either way, she really needs those shears.
Yeah.
Maybe it's to give herself a trim. Her hair does look a little wild.
Unkept.
But yeah, I don't know. This card, I think, as long as those are icons you care about, and I suppose with the proviso that you have survivor cards in your deck that you'd like to recur.
Yeah, it's such a good all-around card. Yeah, I don't know how much more I can say besides, if you have survivor cards that are good in your deck and you want to play more
as
than
they
two
are
copies,
wont to be.
Yeah. Like it's like having 4 copies of Lucky in your deck, which I don't know, seems pretty good. So
I'm a fan.
yeah. Well, that's it for Survivor. We were talking before the show too, like there's not that many cards for each class. I think just due to Lola came out in this box, and she has like 3 signatures, and then Mark has an extra signature and stuff like that. So
and Safina has several.
Oh yeah. So the class there's less cards. So if you had to pick a favorite Survivor card out of this box, could you nail one down or?
Accepting Yorick.
Yeah. Let's say out of the 4 cards we have.
I think the one I probably get the most use out of is, well,
yeah, same here.
Yeah, solid little card.
From top to bottom, I'd probably say Resourceful, Lantern, Shovel, Hiding Spot.
That would be my list as well. What an echo chamber in here.
Oh god. Well, at least we're sitting closely.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be back shortly. We're gonna move on to secret cards. Stay tuned.
Yeah.